Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the thumbnail and the title of this video, this is going to be very different from my usual content. I don't want this to be something I'll be doing often because it's not really the point of my channel and I don't really enjoy doing this anyway, but this video specifically I've always wanted to address for a very long time. I've only started doing YouTube for about 3 months now with very little subscriber count, so my personal experience with the art community isn't there just yet, though I don't really plan on associating with the art community anytime soon. Although I have been on the internet for a long time now, and I've seen so much crap piling up in the art community that it's starting to stink. Like, it just became so bad that a lot of us consider the art community to be one of the most toxic communities ever. And I have many reasons why, but I will only cover the biggest ones that stick up to me first. I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way by saying, I don't like AI art personally, and I won't be touching it anytime soon. I mean, for obvious reasons, it's because, you know, AI art is being this leech that just sucks up every existing data on the internet and just stealing everybody's artwork and just meshing it to this soulless work. I won't get into further details about AI art because this is not what the video is about. I mean, there are plenty of videos out there that covers this a lot better than I can, so seek those out if you want, but we're just gonna go ahead and move on. Ever since AI became popular around 2022, 2023, there has been so many of these unnecessary AI accusations. This controversy, specifically AI, is like a huge no-no amongst the art community, and if you become a target, you will surely get shot down mercilessly. Granted, there are people out there who would post these AI arts on their social media and never label themselves as AI artists, so this can often lead to a lot of misleading and scams. So to those people, they really should be more honest about themselves and stop tricking other people that they are artists, when in reality, I don't really consider them as artists. They are just AI users. Okay? However, with that being said, this is not an excuse for this community to start pointing fingers and accuse one another of using AI. I've seen a lot of it in Twitter, especially Twitter, because that place is a cesspool of toxicity where you get a lot of these people who are just falsely accusing other artists as AI artists or are using AI in their work, and it's just because of these accusations, it made a lot of these non-AI users, non-AI artists, to just basically provide enough proof just to save themselves. And because, again, this is such a huge no-no in the art community or just art in general, and for someone to accuse someone of using AI, it's such a big deal that anyone who is being falsely accused, they have to try their best to get out of that situation because really they're not using AI. And unfortunately, there are times where these artists get harassed so bad that they just leave and you never really heard from them ever. Hi, editor Misha here. While I was editing, I forgot to mention the details of how you can tell the difference between a real art and AI art. I know I said I wasn't going to talk more in details about AI art because there's plenty of videos that do it a lot better than I can, but I think letting you guys know how you can decipher if this is AI art or not would be very helpful. And there's two, because two of them pretty much connect with each other. The first one being this weird filter, like a glowy filter. Like when you take a selfie and you want to hide all these blemishes and wrinkles, basically, or your flaws, you just use heavy filter, which then leads to kind of this weird glowing smoothness. It's very dull, I guess. I don't know. It's just very uncanny to me. And the other two biggest ones would have to be deformities when it comes to limbs. And what I mean by that is specifically AI generator has a very hard time generating hands. And so you would see hands with missing fingers, hands that are kind of crooked. There's also hands that are hidden somewhere too. So something like that, it's very easy to decipher if the art is AI. Recently, there's also the talks about Studio Ghibli AI, which is just going around, and from first glance it looks so one-on-one with Hayao Miyazaki's work, but honestly, you guys, the only way to know if there's inconsistencies, you just have to look very closely, like even if you have to like zoom in to know for sure if this is AI or not, because sometimes those tiny details can really make a difference. And to these disgusting harassers who just point fingers, they will consider that as a huge victory, at least that's what I assume. But to the more competent people, this is just straight up bullying. And to add on to the topic of AI, this is like my personal opinion. If some random ass Joe on the internet is just using AI generator to create like these memes, like these just making funny pictures, they shouldn't be harassed or bullied over it. They're not gonna make a profit. They're not gonna label themselves as artists. They're simply using it for fun, and that's that. Another thing too, I don't know if this is something that many people are aware about, but there are those out there who just uses AI as a tool to share what they want and just want the artist to make it better. I've seen one instance of that through a YouTube video, and honestly, I don't really see anything wrong with that, because I'm a visual learner, so I really prefer if someone were to commission me or want me to do some art for them, I would like some references. And though you might argue that they could just find some references online and not use AI generator, I completely understand that. That's also another way to prevent these people who aren't too familiar with AI to just use just stock images on the internet. But the thing is, like, not everybody in this world are artists. So you can't really get mad at these people for not being too familiar with AI. I mean, if it bothers you that badly, how about you just educate them about AI and encourage them the proper way? And what I mean by that is learning how to do art yourself. Go through the process of learning anatomy, learning color theory, learning perspective, like learning all of these on your own without having to do the less likable way, and that's AI. And if they respond positively, like they understand and they just don't want to hurt the artist, cool, you did it. They learned something, and maybe they can do with that knowledge what they will. If the response is not what you wanted to hear, just don't start a fight. Just move on. You've already said your piece on the matter, so there's no need to create a wildfire over it. Pulling a tantrum like a little baby, screaming constantly, only will just create problems. And honestly, with that sort of mentality and that sort of behavior, that can really scare away potential artists that wants to join the art community, though I don't really understand why they would, but to each their own. Speaking of scaring away new artists, let's talk about the whole fixing your art debacle. I don't understand why the art community finds this to be okay. It's really not, depending on the situation. There are times where these beginner artists do post their arts online and ask their favorite artists for their critiques. If that was the case, then that's fine. They asked for it and the artists will answer back. That's fine. However, on the other hand, there are these fixes, quote unquote fixes, that these beginner artists or even advanced artists never asked for. I mean, what the hell is this? I don't really feel comfortable saying this because I don't want to confirm anything or put a label on it, but just looking at these examples, it's just sus, I guess. I'll just leave it at that. If you know what I'm trying to say here, then I don't need to explain it myself. If you don't, I mean, it's pretty blatant. You'll figure it out. And I guess as an example to tie in this whole fixing situation with art, there's the infamous Cooleen's situation where she did a video about how to properly draw a side profile face and calling the incorrect way a gorilla MF. I mean, this is just embarrassing. It just makes me cringe, and every time I look at that screenshot. I still don't know if this is considered part of the fixing art umbrella, but to me, it clearly does, and it's just like the blatant ignorance of that. And what's so sad was that back then, I did really like Cooleen's art, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little inspired to do similar art like hers back then. And then when she posted that, it left a very bad taste in my mouth. So it's like, I don't want to be associated with that anymore, which is such a shame. And then you have the Z Fixes art. I don't know if many of you are familiar with this, but oh boy, this was a dumpster fire if I ever seen one. I remember this being a huge deal on Twitter because this person just loves forcing her style onto others, especially anime characters, and saying that this is the correct way to do it. Hi, editor Misha here again. I wanted to include this when it comes to like fixing art, is that whenever somebody did ask for a fix to their artwork, it can be very discouraging and also very harmful to the newcomers' self-esteem, if you really think about it, because a lot of these fixers, quote-unquote fixers, are like pointing out the flaws or like what they don't like in art, and essentially just force this ideal way of drawing characters down their throats, which then can really confuse somebody pretty badly, and that can either go both ways of they'll just give up on art or they'll just succumb to the changes. Succumbing to the changes can be a good thing, but if it's not through their own volition, then I think that is incredibly harmful, and people should really just back off and just give them more constructive criticism instead of like forcing them to change their art style just because they don't like it, you know? And my god, this was such a time. I remember thinking to myself years ago when this happened that this person really hates other artists because they don't share the same sort of ideal look. And that leads me to my final point, because my god, I'm not even joking when I say that artists hate other artists, but they really do hate each other, because the amount of people just giving like these backhanded compliments, being like, oh yeah, I like your art, but this and this and this and that needs some changes. Or you seem like a really nice person, but you should really stop doing art. And it's just like, I can't help but think that a lot of these comments just stems from like jealousy and insecurities. They can say otherwise, but that's just how I see it. And it's just like, hi, editor Misha here again. Another detail I forgot to mention when it comes to like artists hating one another. I feel like it also ties in with artists, or just like social media in general, where if they encounter someone who has like similar styles but they have more followers than them, I noticed that they'll get very hostile, get very jealous about it. So I think really it just ties in with a lot of jealousy, and at the same time I can understand the frustrations where you have an artist who draws the same way as you but they have like a lot of followers. And honestly, when it comes to like social media and a lot of like influencer jobs, you just gotta be lucky, and you just also gotta have like a good personality from what I've been told. So there's also that, and I feel like being so jealous and so insecure about somebody who does the art style better than you, to me it's very petty. Like, you can definitely learn to improve. Like, there's nothing is stopping from these people from learning to improve their art styles, and so it's like they're just very petty about it, and they're just super childish, like dead ass. If you're an artist yourself, I don't know why you feel the need to feel like you're superior, I guess. Like, let's be very bluntly honest here. There are artists out there who are better than you because they put in the effort, they took time to learn to finally get to this high level of skill. So the people that are just breaking other artists down, how about you use that energy to freaking learn yourself, just so that you can be on these people's level instead of just whining and crying about. And that leads me to another point too, with the whole gatekeeping thing. Like, what's so bad about people wanting to have the similarities of a certain art style? It's like, in a way, that's how a lot of beginner artists learn. They look up to someone, they look up to a favorite artist, and then they just like try to draw their styles on their own. Like, that's how I've learned with my style with Sakimi-chan. If you guys remember her, she's very well known for very NSFW currently. I mean, back then, before she didn't do all of that, I was such a big fan. I really like how she drew like these characters in her style that I wanted to do the same thing. And from there on, I've learned to just develop my own art style. And that's what's so sad about this art community, is that it used to be a place where you can show your creativity and then people can share the same feeling, and then there's also like positive critiques and like structure could like I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like proper critiques instead of just being outright insulting, you know? Like it's just very sad because I feel like when social media became popular, like became like a big deal now, that's where I've noticed that a lot of these bad jujus, the toxicity is starting to come in. And and the one thing that came to mind with this is like the art commentary community, and honestly that's a whole can of worms that I really don't want to dip my fingers in, but I have my own gripes with these guys. And it's just, I don't know if I will make a video about them or not, but if you guys are interested in hearing me rant about my feelings towards the art commentary, let me know down in the comments. But like I said, I hate doing these types of videos because it doesn't make me feel good. And it's not fun doing this, but it just needs to be said that the art community it's just so freaking toxic, and to me it feels like it's more toxic than it's like even more toxic than the gaming community. And it's just like, to me, when I look at the gaming community, it's just like a lot of times it's just poking fun because talking shit to each other is like a thing in the gaming community, though of course when it comes to, you know, the whole racial slur, then that's a whole different thing entirely. But here at the art community, it's just so bad. And honestly, like when I wanted to do YouTube, I just solely just wanted to just have fun with my videos and just create art. I feel like it's what the art community should have been, and should have stuck with that instead of just who has the most views, who has the most followers. Ah, my god. Because there's like also the TikTok situation, but I'm not gonna really get into that because I'm not familiar with it at all. I've heard bad things about the art community and TikTok, and so I just avoid it like it's the plague. And so I don't know anything about that. All I know is about the art community in social media and YouTube. It just sucks. And I feel like something like this needs to be said. Like I said, I am a YouTuber with very small subscriber count. I don't really expect this video to be going out like to everyone that uses YouTube. I don't really expect much about this. I just find recording my feelings sometimes to be very therapeutic. And another thing too, I know for sure I'm not the only one that feels this way about the art community specifically. There are plenty, and I mean plenty of people out there who spoke and vented their feelings about the art community, and how to me it just feels like it's better to just do things on your own. And what I meant by that is, don't associate yourself with the community. Just, if you like doing art, do it. Have fun with it. Create your content the way that you want it. Don't try to affiliate yourself with toxicity like the art community or any community that you deem will break you down, because there are plenty of communities out there they won't harass you. But at the end of the day, it's really like, you guys should just worry about yourself. And if you guys are like wanting to do YouTube, just focus on your content and have fun. Because, you know, I feel like with art, you're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to show your creativity and not be put down, you know. I wish there's like a lot more for me to talk about when it comes to art community, but like I said, there are plenty of videos out there who already discuss like either the same points as me or even more that I haven't heard of yet. Because I remember there was a comment, I forgot which video it was, but when I scrolled down, it's like the very first comment, and it has like this person's name: the art community has so many problems, and then below that is like, which ones? And that pretty much sums up what the art community is like, because it's just, yeah, it's true. There are too many problems that I feel like a lot of people have lost count, and it's just embarrassing, the fact that there are just so many problems and you can't really escape from it unless you isolate yourself from the community. But now what I'm saying is, you don't have to leave this community, because underneath all that ugliness, there are definitely some good ones there. And if that's the reason why you're part of the art community, like you're still holding on to that goodness that's in there, then stay. I'm not telling you guys to leave. It's your own decision. Like, if you know you're feeling like terrible, you're feeling like drained from this community, then think about leaving and just think about yourself. But if you're still feeling good because of the people you meet in this community, then stay. It's really up to your own interpretation with the community, and for me, I've said it multiple times, I'm not going to associate with them. I'm just going to do my own thing and just do my art, because there are YouTubers out there that I follow and who only does art, like they talk about their art and having fun with it, and that's what I want to do. And so, like I said, I don't like doing these types of videos. It's not what I want to do. I just want to go back to making, you know, more fun, creative videos, I guess. Man, having myself venting out all that feeling it feels really good, because it's so therapeutic. It feels like a weight is off my shoulders, and once I finally said my piece, I can finally just move on. But I really hope you guys enjoy this video. This is definitely one of my longest ones so far. Next video I do have something big planning, and this one I just need to get out of the way. This the upcoming project I have in mind. I don't know how it might take a while, because I do, like I said, it's something big that I've always wanted to do. Would I say it's original? No. But it's something that I want to try. And if you guys are interested in seeing the next video and what I had planned, definitely hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell for notifications. And before I go, just go ahead and comment down below about how you really feel about the art community, and do you think that there's any sort of glimpse of hope for this art community to be how it used to be, where it's less toxic and more about let's show your creativity and just like be happy that there are like these new styles coming out, you know, or if it's just gonna stay as a dumpster fire that it is. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say, and I want to know if you guys feel the same way as me, or if there's anything you want to add on there, or if there's anything that you don't really you disagree with what I said. Like I'm open to hear and read what you guys have to say. But with that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to hit subscribe and the like button, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye bye.